Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the program Fuckers. And today I'd like to talk about why the wristwatch industry is doomed. Why is it doomed? And I was talking to a fan this morning, and he said to me, "Oh, Archie, what do I think of this Jaeger-LeCoultre? It was a Master Geographic." And I said, "Look, anything Jaeger-LeCoultre is a great watch. I love Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's a great brand. I love it to death." But what I said to him is, I said, you do realize that some of these complicated Holy Trinity and horology pieces, they can be incredibly expensive to repair. And I said, look, it gets worse than that. I said, what basically happens is, you're over a fucking barrel where only the manufacturer or the manufacturer's agent has parts. And I said to him, I said, look, I love Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's a great brand. I said, I got a friend of mine who had a Master Geographic, and it was one of these ones that had a rubberized crown. You know how that trendy rubberized shit. Anyhow, it got fucked. The crown got fucked. He sent it into Jaeger-LeCoultre, the agent, and they basically said, yes, we can replace the crown. It's $26. However, the integrity of your watch has been damaged. Therefore, we would need to do a full service on it to be able to replace that part. So this was a expensive, it's a complicated piece. $1,500 later, $1,500 later, it came back. And this is what happens. They just won't sell you that bit and your watchmaker can put it in. No. They control the whole flow of parts. And it's not just Jaeger-LeCoultre that does this. No. Have you tried getting a Omega coaxial repaired lately? If you need parts, it has to go back to Omega. They're not allowing the flow of these parts. And I said to this fan, I said, you know, when I bought my Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, I said, you know, I could have bought a dual time Royal Oak, which has got 2 time zones. It's quite a nice complication. For similar money to I paid for my 14790, which is basically minutes, hours, seconds, and a date. 3-hander and a date. But the reason for that is because it's so expensive to fix the complication. And on the used market, you have a look at a very complicated AP or a Vacheron. Patek's not so the case. Patek complications hold their value much better because the strength of the brand. But the reality is, these other brands, even Holy Trinity members, you can buy Vacheron perpetual calendars. I was offered one at about 14,000. And the problem is, who the fuck can service it? It's a perpetual calendar. There's so many little parts inside there. Who are you going to take it to? And if the watchmaker, even if he's skilled to work on it, if he needs a part, where the fuck is he going to get it from? And this is the whole horrible truth. It's like, you know, so many things these days, they're moving in this direction. You buy a car, buy a Mercedes or a BMW, they try and lock you into dealer servicing. Nowadays, on a modern BMW or a Mercedes, you need the computer, which, you know, it's not just oil and filters. I mean, the car itself is oil, filters, brake pads, consumables, and you've got to have a fucking computer to plug into it. You can't reset the computer to say the oil change has been done unless you've got a Mercedes computer to talk to it. and they won't supply this information to independents. Now, it's not quite as bad as that, because as the models age, this stuff filters through the industry. But in watches, it's a hell of a lot worse. Because top brands like Jaeger-LeCoultre, AP, PPVC, smaller market. Watches are a lot more smaller market than automobiles. And the technology doesn't filter through. And I gotta say, it's really quite interesting, because the watch industry, they scream and say, we don't have enough watchmakers, there's not enough people doing apprenticeships to become watchmakers. Well, hang on a minute. Say you did do an apprenticeship with one of these big makers. You could never work for yourself, because they would never sell you the fucking parts. You might be able to service it, but if it needed anything besides some timing and a bit of oil, they won't fucking sell you the parts. They'll insist that you go to an authorized repair agent, and they put all snooty claims on it. This is to protect our customer, the integrity of the watch. This is all... There's to a certain degree, yeah, fair enough. But if a trained watchmaker's working on it, what fucking difference does it make? They're just being complete cunts about the whole issue. That's what's happened. They're trying to lock you in so that you can't get it serviced anywhere else. And, I mean, it's not just... it's not just Swatch Group, it's not just Rolex, it's not just Patek, AP, VC. They were all at it. And you can remember, you know, I've got this Breguet here. Well, can you imagine what the fuck you would do? How do you get this is a Lemania-based movement. How the fuck can you get spare Lemania parts for this Breguet? They won't sell them to you. This is a proprietary Lemania movement made just for this model. There's not really generic parts around. So you're kind of fucked. And if someone was training to be a watchmaker, what good is that skill if you can't work for yourself or work for a big chain? It's really, really hard. And I know a few really good watchmakers in Australia. There's a guy in Sydney who's really good, Paul. There's WatchTech in Brisbane. And they've got a lot of parts. They've invested heavily buying parts. They've got a lot of parts up their sleeve. But as time moves on, it's going to be harder to get these parts. And what's happening is that they invent new technology, new type of mainspring, new type movements. You can't just use generic stuff. See, Rolex years ago, part of their business model, if you were a watchmaker, they would give you free opening tools so that you could get a lot of watchmakers could do Rolex. So it helped sell product because a normal person could take it to an independent watchmaker and he could service it. Fast forward 40 years and the business models change. They're saying, hang on a minute, why should we give him our watchmaking work? No, 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 no. They use all these cool terms like integrity and to ensure the quality of the product. It's so they can fucking gouge you. It's so they can fucking give you another asshole. And this is the whole thing. Henry Ford once said he could give cars away if you agreed to service it only through him. And it's the same thing with watches. They've jumped on the bandwagon. They don't give out parts. You're really quite fucked. You're really quite fucked. And it's very sad to say this, but why would you train as a watchmaker if you can't set yourself up as an independent repairer down the track? Why would you? And It's not so much about the skills, it's the fact that these bastards won't release any fucking parts. and that's why watchmaking as a craft and art is fucking doomed. It's like, you know, a young kid becoming a mechanic. They say, oh, I want to become a mechanic. Okay, that's great. Eventually, after I've worked for a dealership or a repairer for a while, I could always start my own business. Well, you can't if they won't sell you spark plugs, and the spark plug they use is a proprietary spark plug which only fits their car. You are fucked. You are fucked big time. And other dealers, I mean, I remember when I was stupid enough to have an Alfa Romeo, I used an Alfa Romeo, an independent service agent, and he said, you know, the computer to calibrate the Sally Speed clutch system, he said it's about $15,000, and they don't give you any updates. You've got to buy, these updates are a couple $1,000s. He said for a small independent, it's not viable to have that piece of kit. And that's how fucking nasty it is. These big manufacturers, they just care about profits. They don't care about the industry. They don't care about anyone. And this is what's happening. In the auto industry, there's been many consumer things happen. A car maker can't say to you, you must only use an authorized dealer to service. Trade practices has jumped in. But watchmaking is so small as an industry, people aren't jumping up and down. They don't give a flying fuck. If some rich prat can afford a watch like that, well, that's his own fucking problem. And that's how it is, I'm afraid. And my opinion is watchmaking is a doomed art. And it's doomed because of the manufacturing houses. That's why it's fucking doomed, fuckers. I'm Archie Luxury. Tell me what you fuckers think of that. Nasty, Archie. That is mean shit.